Hey, can you hear me now? I don't know if you actually heard me in the beginning. They'll tell me if you can't hear me, I guess. We have a little bit of a microphone problem. As I said, on tonight's program, it is the Anchor Free-For-All, the first of 2 this week. Tonight, joining me on the program, we have 6 anchors. 3 of them are here. Pat Grace from Wednesday nights, Courtney Wilson from Thursday nights, and Autumn made the mad dash from across the studio from Tuesday night. Autumn gels. Lots of interesting things to talk about. You saw the story on the news here about the 120 credits possibly going into effect at state system schools. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about media. We always, all these people are college students, and so we always end up talking about the profession that they want to go into, the media and journalism. We're going to talk a little bit about that coming up later. So right now we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back. The first of 2 Anchor Free-For-Alls continues right after this.
What is a hero? Are heroes born, or are they made? In after-school programs, your kids will uncover hidden strengths, discover they have the power to change their future, and find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN. After-school programs, helping kids find the hero within.
This portion of the programming was made possible through a grant by the Captain Loomis Hotel and Restaurant. The Captain Loomis Hotel and Restaurant is located at 540 Main Street in Clarion and offers dining as well as a nightclub. The restaurant and nightclub are open 7 days a week for your convenience. Call Captain Loomis Hotel and Restaurant 226-8400.
I'm the best thing you ever had. Only things I'm guilty of, giving you too much love, making you crazy, making you rap, making me fall, making me suspect. Seem to think I'm playing her game. Don't you know her? This is me.
There's a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
You're watching TV5 with Zeta Tau Alpha.
Welcome back to this Tuesday night edition of Feedback. We're counting down the number of feedback shows left. 4 left. This is number 4 to the end. Anchor Free-For-All tonight, Anchor Free-For-All Thursday, the big goodbye party next week, and then the final show a week from Thursday. But as we do always at the end of every semester, the Anchor Free-For-All. So we have half of our anchors here, Pat Grace representing Wednesday, Courtney Wilson representing Thursday, and Autumn Gels representing Tuesday nights. In this segment, I want to talk about something that generally affects students. So community people still watch because it could affect you, but to a lot of students, in the last week or 2, we heard about the state system saying that 128 credits may go to only 120 required. And earlier tonight, if you watched TV5 News, you saw our Kelly Esno did a story about the possible change. Let's go ahead and take a look back at that story right now, and then we're going to talk about it.
May need fewer credits to graduate under a new policy adopted by the university's governing board. So how does this new policy affect Clarion University students?
Well, it will affect Clarion in a variety of ways. But let me say at first blush, we're not quite sure if this is going to be mandated by the state system or if, in fact, this is going to be encouraged by the state system or recommended. It's hard to say. But
this change was made at the request of the system's university presidents. But why is this policy being adopted now?
What the attempt is to increase or facilitate the graduation rate of students. And currently, most programs are 128 hours. And that means that students have to average 16 hours a semester, which is sort of an odd number. 120 hours really is the traditional baccalaureate degree, and that's what I had, 120 hours. And that averages, of course, 15 hours a semester. And so The idea is to facilitate graduation, the four-year graduation rate, and the graduation rate in general.
While this new policy will excite most students, changes will have to be made to make up for the loss of 8 credits.
Different majors will implement it in different ways. The first thing that will probably happen is that if you go from 120 to 128 to 120, obviously there's an 8-hour reduction. I suspect that half of that will come out of general education and half of that will come out of the majors. 4 hours is kind of an odd number, so in some cases what might happen is some of the majors may change courses and kind of combine them. In some cases,
If the state system of higher education decides to mandate the 120 credit degree, the change in the curriculum may come easier for some departments than others.
I would expect that some of the science programs and especially the professional programs in education, the Bachelor of Science in Education, secondary ed programs, and even some of the other ones may still remain higher than 120 hours if that's acceptable to the state system.
While this new policy will most likely not affect current Clarion University juniors and seniors, the possibility exists that freshmen and sophomores will be grandfathered in.
Oftentimes when there's a catalog change, students have an option of coming in using the catalog they came in with or selecting the new catalog. But I don't know, this is such a universal change, systematic change, that I'm not sure. The devil's in the details on that one.
So that's the proposal, and I want to kind of get your feelings on this. It came out from the state system, and then all of a sudden we hear about it at Clarion after the fact. Pat, you're going to be a senior. Courtney, you're going to be a junior, and you're going to be a junior as well?
Sophomore.
Oh, you're only a sophomore. All right, so we have a pretty diverse range. Autumn, it may affect you before it affects these guys. Pat is probably not going to, won't affect you. Courtney, it may affect you. What are your thoughts on this? Anybody?
I think that it's going to be a really nice change because it is difficult to get the 16 hours that you need, and I really think that it's a good thing. I really do.
Anybody else?
I just think that graduation, like, by taking like your major classes, a lot of the time they get harder and everything. Like, well, they do get harder as you go on, and sometimes you can't take quite as many credits as you took your freshman and sophomore year. And this way you don't have to take those extra 8 credits, and you'll have a little bit more time to work on what you have to, and you can graduate on time, like in the 4 years that you have, instead of having to wait an extra semester or even another year or 2 years. You can just get done in maybe the 4 years if you take maybe like 18 credits or something, you know, your freshman and sophomore years, because you don't really have to take as many comm classes or, you know, your major classes. You can just take a lot of your gen ed stuff and get that out of the way, and then work on your major classes with not as many credits. So.
Well,
not gonna affect you at
personally,
all.
it's not going to affect me, but I'm kind of torn. I think that I like the idea, speaking from a student's perspective, of graduating early, earlier than, or at least graduating on time, because a lot of people don't get to do it. But on the other hand, I kind of feel like they're taking away some of the education that we could be getting, and people are graduating with less education than they would be with the 128. I mean, granted, it's only another 8 credits, but what 8 credits are they taking out that that person could be gaining knowledge in?
Well, to build on that point, in the interview, the dean said something about how that this is designed, it's going to hopefully increase 4-year graduation rates, because if you look, the state legislator is always pushing for what are your graduation rates, and that's how they decide how good an academic institution is. I don't think that's right, because times have changed. You know, 4-year education may have been good 25 years ago, but now there are so many other added pressures. Do you think that this is kind of caving in maybe to the 4-year, we need to get them out of here in 4 years, so we're just going to cut back what they need to do?
Yeah, I do agree with that, definitely. I mean, I like the point that Pat made about they're taking away a lot of education that we could be getting. I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with not graduating on time, because that just gives me more, like, a greater opportunity to be able to take extra classes or take those extra credits that may or may not be needed. And just the more education that you have, the better off you're going to be. So I do think that they're trying to push us out, like, right on the 4-year deadline, which maybe that's not a good thing.
No one can really tell you exactly when to graduate. You can take as many classes as you want. You're paying for it. You can be in school as long as you want to. You can go until you're 65 years old if you really want to. I mean, you're paying for it. So if you want to take 128, you can, but if you just want to take the 120 and graduate in 4 years or however long it takes you to graduate, then you can just take the 120. They're just giving you a chance to do that. You don't have to graduate if you don't want to right away. You can just...
To pick up on what you said, they talked about possibly that some courses would be combined together to take care of it. Do you think, as someone who has been here for 3 years now, that that might be something that's beneficial? Because sometimes I thought that we're trying to cram too much into the courses and there should be more courses as it is. Do you think that taking two and putting them as one is a viable option here?
Well, I guess it depends upon what type of course you're teaching. I know, like in some classes, I learn some of the same stuff that overlaps, and maybe those kind of classes, you know, you could put together, or, you know, team teach, if you will. But I think that there's some courses that you need to take individually, and you get that information. You just can't combine them. So, I mean, I guess it just depends on the course and how general the topic is. Like if you have a course, you have a course COM 100, that's Introduction to Mass Media, and that's just like a general overview of the entire mass media. And there is a lot of information in that class, and maybe it overlaps. Some of the information overlaps, so maybe you could combine it with some other course that applies that information that you use, and that way from the semester that you learn COM 100 Intro to Mass Media knowledge, you don't have to wait another semester and kind of forget a little bit of what you learned. You can apply it right there.
Right.
And it sticks with you for long.
Certainly a lot to talk about on this subject, but we have to take a break and we'll have to come back and move on to something else. But something I think is definitely going to be debated over the next few years, and they're looking at maybe 2003.
Yeah.
That seems to be a big date for this campus. The Magnolia Estates thing, they want to have that, all this stuff built, a new catalog. So if you're going to be here in 2003, it's going to be quite a semester for you. Stay with us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there was another story on the news tonight that was a little bit interesting. One of the county commissioners says he probably won't run for the commissioner's office because of some things he's seen in the newspapers. We're going to talk about, does the media have too much power in our world? Stay with us. Feedback continues after the break.
I wasn't going to school because I was making money stealing cars. Well, I was 10 when I first got involved with drugs. I skipped school because, you know, nobody cared.
When I first got pregnant, school was not important to me, so I dropped out.
Well, if I don't finish school, then I can't go to college. I mean, that's the whole point of what I want to do with my life.
I still need to go to school to make it for myself.
I think I'm happier now. I know I'm happier now.
This portion of the programming was made possible through a grant by Fox's Pizza Den. Fox's Pizza Den is located on Old Route 66 in Clarion and offers all-day delivery. Phone 226-5555. That's 226-5555. Fox's Pizza Den is open 7 days a week for your convenience. Phone 226-5555.
You know, we sing for millions of girls, but helping out in schools, that's the real deal, baby.
I know our love can multiply.
I'm the cute one, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever been backstage before?
'Cause you're the excel.
I think you'll find that gravity is key in what I do.
Once was one, but now we're two.
I'm spinning out of control.
Oh. This portion of the program was made possible through a grant from Clarion Hospital. Clarion Hospital is located off of Exit 9 of Interstate 80. Clarion Hospital offers outpatient services, transitional care, as well as an emergency room open around the clock every day of the year. More than 400 employees and 80 physicians work to serve the community. Call the Clarion Hospital at 226-9500. Clarion Hospital, providing health care to Clarion County and surrounding communities since 1954. Welcome back to Feedback. It's Tuesday night. It's the first of two free-for-alls this week. Pat Grace from Thursday night. Of course, Courtney... No, you're from Wednesday night. Courtney Wilson, we should sit in that order. Courtney Wilson from Thursday night and Autumn Gels from Tuesday night. And we were just sitting here talking during the break. You may have seen the story on the news tonight. Current Clarion County Commissioner Butch Campbell said he's probably not going to run for re-election to the county commission. You may know that Campbell was appointed to the position when John Shropshire died earlier, or last summer actually. And he said he's probably not going to run because he doesn't need to put his family through seeing the editorials and the editorial cartoons in some of the local papers. This afternoon, I talked to Rodney Sherman, who's the editor of the Clarion News, and he didn't have any comment for me on what happened at the meeting this morning. He said that look for a response of some type in Thursday's Clarion News. So I don't want to specifically address this issue, but I do want to talk about the power of the media, because we're all students here in the communication department at Clarion University who obviously want to do something with the media, whether it's television, what we're doing now, or some other aspect. Are there times when the media can go too far because the pen is mightier than the sword? Do you think that's the case? And is that just one of the necessary evils that comes with having a free press?
Well, I'd have to say two things. One, I do feel that sometimes the media does go too far. I mean, there's just some issues that the media kind of sticks their nose where it doesn't belong and makes things public that sometimes damage lives. Also, on the other hand, I do think that the media is somewhat controlled by what is put out there and what isn't put out there, because if you think about it, a lot of the big businesses and the government influence what the media has to say, because let's say in magazines, for instance, the advertising companies, they fund pretty much the magazines and what gets put in there. And a lot of the commercials and the advertising, it funds the TV shows and that, like.
Right.
So they're kind of, if there's somebody that wants something said or doesn't want something said, the funding can kind of put their foot down and say, hey, we don't want this made known, or we do want this made known. I mean, that's just my personal outlook on it.
But would you rather not have a free press?
Oh, no, I definitely, freedom of press is, I mean, because the media sticks their nose where it doesn't belong a lot of the times, but also sometimes there's things that people really need to know that are made known through the media and through the press, and if it wasn't for free press and freedom of speech, then we may never know some of the things that we do.
Right.
I think they have the right to say whatever they want, and if it's untrue about the person, then that person knows that it's not true about them, and they should just kind of let it go and talk about it later, you know, like go live on TV or go to that place and talk to them about it and tell them, you know, to fix what they said, make a correction in it. I just think they have the right to say whatever they want to, and people just shouldn't get all upset about stuff. If someone says something about me, I'm not going to worry about it, because if I know it's not true, then it's not true.
Would you let the media alter your life?
Yeah, why not?
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. That's open and honest.
Well, I don't know. I guess you're dealing with like an ethical question of it depending on your values and the way you believe. Is it too far? Is it not too far? And you have to look at maybe, is the person in the news, is he a public figure, he or she a public figure, and are they in the news a lot anyways, not necessarily with bad things or negative comments or editorials about that person, but if you are that type of person, you have to realize that regardless of what, if it's not in your contract, but it comes with the job anyways, regardless. So you kind of have to be prepared for that when you go in.
Right. That's a good point. Media's role in general, and after September 11th, and there I said it, Pat was saying, well, September 11th making the show, probably a little bit. After September 11th, I remember reading an article, and it was probably about September 13th, and someone was saying, wow, television has finally returned to the glory of it where it was. Television news, that is, because for a while television news was, the sweeps type stories were leading. Robert Blake led the news on local stations across the country last week, or when was it? Whatever. Yeah. Should that be the lead? I mean, when you have something going on important locally or something like that, the media are these terribly powerful agenda setters. Do you buy into the fact that the American people let them be the agenda setters as much as someone have us believe? Because, as an example, is media promotes violence, so that's why kids are violent, because the media is promoting an agenda. Merely an example, but do the media really set that big of an agenda? Are they that powerful?
I don't know. I think it can go either way. I mean, in some instances, the media does have a lot of power. I mean, the media is very influential over what we do and don't know as a nation and as a society. I mean, the media makes us very aware of what is and isn't going on. And in that way, it's very influential. But as far as, like, the example that you gave about the media promoting violence or anything of that sort, I mean, I think that stays within the family. Like, a family determines what does and does influence a child as far as their actions go. But I mean, just as far as being made aware of what's going on, then the media is very influential.
I think people have a mind of their own, and if they can't distinguish between, like the media is not saying because this happened you should go do it.
Right.
People know the difference between what's right and what's wrong, and if they take it as the media saying, well, because we're promoting it, it should be done. Like, I think maybe if the media didn't promote that sort of thing, like, I don't know that would affect the amount of violence or the amount of criminal activity that goes on at all. I mean, maybe not. Who's to say? It's a question up in the air, but I just think that people need to realize that people who watch TV can think for themselves.
Right. Last word, like 30 seconds here. You agree with
They just took the words right out of my mouth.
Phenomenal. We're about out of time. Okay, so it's always too short when we do this. Too bad I'm leaving. We can't do it again. Oh well. Thank you guys for coming down. Pat Grace will be on the air tomorrow night. Courtney will be on the air Thursday night. Autumn just got off the air. Will be back with us next Tuesday. Thank you all for coming down. Stay with us. Feedback continues. We'll be back right after this.
I don't want to eat.
Come on, just one bite.
I don't like it.
This portion of programming is sponsored by Reese Brothers, located in Drake Square Building in Oil City. Reese Brothers offers competitive hourly wage, plus daily bonuses, flexible scheduling, company-sponsored health benefits, and paid professional training. Call today at 1-800-365-3500, extension 684, or 677-9236 for your personal interview, or stop by and visit the Drake Square Building. Reese Brothers, where integrity and technology connect.
Hear the one about the rabbi and the reverend who like to party? A community coalition got them together with local restaurant owners. Now they host drug-free kids parties.
These guys know how to party.
It's just one example of what community coalitions can do. But it's not the only way to keep kids away from drugs. Visit helpyourcommunity.org to find out what your group can do. Because you get more
when you get together.
Wardrobe for some TV5 News staff provided by Fashion Bug, located in the Clarion Mall. Whether you're looking for junior trendy or fashion for women, they have it all with many different styles. Fashion Bug also offers a wide selection of accessories. Fashion Bug is located in the Clarion Mall, just off exit 62 off Interstate 80. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. till 9 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 5.
Welcome back. Pat has asked me to make a clarification. Every time the Fashion Bug ad is on, he is in it. Pat does not shop at Fashion Bug. Jackie does. Did I hit all the female anchors? Susan does. Pat does not. He just happens to be in the ad. Let's make that clear for everyone at home to save Pat's reputation. Once again, thanks to Pat Grace, Courtney Wilson, Autumn Gels for joining us. It was fun, as it always is. And then there were only 3 more feedbacks left. Thursday night, Kelly Esno, Jack Neelan, and Susan Honorad will be here doing another free-for-all. Next Tuesday night, the Feedback Farewell Rap Party. That should be lots of fun. And then a week from Thursday, the final ever feedback, where we're going to look back at some old feedback clips. We'll see you. Have a good week. Tune in tomorrow night at 7.